Welcome to Sage Audio. Today let's cover how to mix vocals in Logic Pro X. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Start with optional gate. The chapters in this video are in order. Also, we're going to be listening to each step along the way. We're going to be using stock plugins, but feel free to substitute any one that you like. Now, whether or not you use a gate is up to you. Some engineers like them on vocals and some don't, but to cover all bases, let's take a look at it. A noise gate works well at the beginning of the vocal chain with a moderate threshold, quick attack, and some look ahead. With Logic's gate, we could also isolate the gating to the high frequencies, so let's do that as well. Let's take a listen to how this cuts out some of the background noise, and let me know in the comments if this is something that you would use when you're mixing vocals.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
Introduce pitch correction if needed. Logic's pitch corrector is a little behind the times, but if you need to tune your vocals, it's going to work well enough. First, isolate the notes that you want the signal to be tuned to. For natural sounding tuning, use a slower response speed. For more obvious tuning, you could do the opposite. I'll take this tuner off for future demonstrations, but let's take a listen regardless and compare slow and fast response times.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It's free and it helps us bring you more videos. Reduce resonances with EQ. Every vocal will need to be equalized differently, but with this one, I reduced the lows with a high pass and then blended the filter in with a bell around the fundamental. These cleaned up the lows and helped reduce masking in the highs, mainly around 2 kHz. I also observed excessive harmonics around 500 Hz and 1.5 kHz, so I pulled these back slightly. Lastly, I attenuated sibilants slightly around 6.5 kHz with a narrow bandwidth. Let's take a listen and notice how the vocal sounds more balanced.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
Use subtle de-essing. Next, this vocal needed a little more control in the highs, so I used a de-esser and first switched it to absolute mode with a split range and high shelf filter. I reduced the threshold, but set the range to only 2 dB since the vocal sibilance wasn't too aggressive. Now, if your vocal has more sibilance, simply alter the threshold and the range. Let's take a listen to how this subtly controls the high frequencies.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
Utilize RMS compression for detail. Next, I'll introduce compression with the intention of capturing the vocal and amplifying quieter parts. First, let's go to the sidechain section, use RMS detection, and turn on a high-pass filter up to around the fundamental. Then I'll start to compress with a 3:1 ratio and moderate knee. More importantly, I'll set the attack to about 2 milliseconds and release to roughly 40 milliseconds to quickly capture and release the vocal. Additionally, I'll turn on auto makeup gain and set it to -12 dB. Let's take a listen to how this controls the vocal's dynamics, but also increases its detail. Additionally, we'll cycle through a couple settings up top to hear how different emulations alter the vocal's timbre.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
Achieve 1 to 2% total harmonic distortion with Exciter. I'm not a huge fan of Logic's distortion plugins on vocals, but I do like the sound and controls of their Exciter. I like that I can increase the harmonic percentage and mute the dry signal to hear only the distortion. Additionally, I can isolate the distortion's frequency range. With that said, let's take a listen to some harmonic distortion applied above 400 Hz.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
Set up stereo delay bus. The last 6 chapters are everything that I want to do on the main channel strip. Next, I want to set up buses or aux sends. Now I'll create my first bus or send, and on the corresponding auxiliary track, I'll insert Logic's stereo delay plugin, which I'll keep synced to the BPM. Now on the left channel, I'll use a 1/16th note delay, and on the right, a dotted 1/16th note. But know that you could choose different settings if you want. I'll use about 25% feedback on both, with very mild crossover, and keep the effect at 100%. After the delay, and on the same auxiliary track, I'll insert an EQ. Now this helps me shape the frequency response of my delay taps. Lastly, I'll blend the effect in with the channel fader. Let's take a listen.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
If you're enjoying the channel, use the search box to watch more of our videos. Emulate room reflections. For the next temporal or time-based effect, I'm going to create another bus and corresponding aux track. Then I'll insert Logic Space Designer. I'll use their large and bright setting, but reduce the length a good amount until it sounds in time with the tempo. In the output section, I'll dip some of the lows, some high mids around 2 kHz to keep this sounding drier, and then the highs, since these made the reverb sound somewhat metallic. Like before, I'll blend the effect in. Let's take a listen to the short room emulation blended in.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
Create larger, stylistic reverb. The room emulation was used to make the vocals slightly denser, but this next reverb is going to make it sound large and impressive. Again, I'm going to use a bus and aux track, but this time I'll use Logic's Chroma Verb and select the Vocal Hall preset, but use a slightly longer pre-delay. I'll smooth the modulation setting in the details section, as well as change the quality to Ultra. Let's take a listen to this more stylized reverb blended in with our vocal.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
Blend in, chorus effect. Last up for temporal effects, I'm going to use Logic's Chorus plugin. I'll use a lower rate of modulation and about 20% intensity and keep the mix at 100%. Like before, I'll use an auxiliary channel strip to blend this effect in and listen closely to ensure that it doesn't cause phase cancellation. Let's take a listen to the subtle thickening effect that this has on the vocal.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
Send all tracks to bus and EQ. For this last step, I'm going to change the output of my main channel strip and all of my temporal effect auxiliary channels to a single bus. This lets me process all of them at once. Then I'll insert Logic's Pultec emulation to shape the combined signals. With the Pultec emulation, I'm going to boost some of the lows, some of 2 to 5 kHz, and dip some of 800 Hz. Let's take a listen to the effect of this EQ. Then, let's take a listen to the original vocal and our finished vocal, using some gain compensation to make their levels similar.
I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah. I'm trying to grow up as fast as I can. You already told me you needed a real man, yeah.
If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching.